Hi all, let's do a video on how to go to college. I have this text file here, and I tried to write down a few things that I wanted to make sure that we go over, and I originally planned on doing a handful of videos on this topic, but you can see as I started to outline this one, it got pretty big. So there's 30 points here. Some of them are good, some of them are pretty silly, just things that I would like to bring up. So I'm not an expert on this topic. I went to Kent University for 5 years or so, and I also taught college part-time for about 15 years or so. So I know a little bit about it, but where this video grew out of is I would tell friends, family, and then when I started teaching college, I would do one class, 1 hour on this type of thing. I'd just blow through it all in an hour as much as I could. And most of it's pretty good information. So we'll skim through this, try to hit most of the points, and then some of the more important points I'll do more videos on, and we'll take a closer look at those areas. One area I know we'll do a video next is on how to fill out the financial aid forms, and they're actually pretty easy. It's all online now. It's like one piece of paper, name, address, serial number type thing. And then if you have any questions, just call the 800 number and ask the person, or better yet, go to the school, have them help you fill it out. So but we'll do a whole video on that. Okay, so this first part here, this is just an overview. It's basically the same stuff that down here, but just a quick overview on how to go to college. You've never gone to college, you don't have no idea where to start. Well, first thing you do is you go to the school and you fill out an application. Okay, they give you a small packet, 4 or 5 pieces of paper or so, name, address, stuff like that, and it's called an application. You apply to the school. You want to go to school there. There's usually a small fee, like $10 or so. The reason why I guess they do that is so people just don't apply to 1,000 colleges. You have to pay something. Usually that's not a problem, for most schools. If you're applying to some of the bigger schools, they may have thousands of people applying to the school, but they only have like 1,000 spots. For the bigger schools, that might be a problem. So apply as early as possible. But for most schools, the college around the block, down the street, that shouldn't be a problem. Do it as early as possible. Like if you're going to go to school in September, fill out the application in spring, months in advance. But you could do it as little as a week or so, and most colleges will still get you in. Just depends on the school, how filled up they are. Okay, so after you fill out the application, you fill out the financial aid forms. Or if you want, you can just pay cash too. There's nothing wrong with paying cash if you can afford it. If you're just taking one class, you don't want no hassle, just hand them your credit card. For most of us, we go on financial aid. Now, that could mean all types of things. Okay. In general, though, the main one is the FAFSA. It's Federal Aid Financial something, blah blah blah. So there's a website that you go to and you fill out the forms. And when you apply for that, you're actually applying for like 5 or more different grants and loans, all under one form. The main one would be the Pell Grant. You fill out the form for the FAFSA, but you're after the Pell Grant. Grants, you don't have to pay back. Loans, you have to pay back. So in general, stay away from the loans. Only take the grants. Take the loans if you have to, but try to avoid them. Most of us, 99% of us, we go to school on the Pell Grant. P-E-L-L, Pell Grant. Okay? Then, when that's done, you sign up for your classes. It used to be you could walk into the school and pick up a pamphlet that had the course schedules. But these days it's all online. And my experience trying to hunt down the courses, it's a real pain. If you don't already know what you're looking for, trying to sort through the online schedule is a big pain, even for me, and I've been looking at it for years. So you apply to the school, try to get some financial aid, sign up for the courses you want, and then something that's important you might not think of is find the buildings and where the classrooms are. Because if your first day of class is Monday, 8 a.m., Monday, 7:45, you don't want to have to look for the building. You go to the campus and you're talking acres. It's like, where's the building? Smaller colleges, there might only be 2 or 3 buildings, but it's still hard to find it. You got to park a half mile away, walk to the building. So it's always nice to find the building, figure out where the room is. And then most of the stuff down here is going to be dealing with the red tape. Dealing with the red tape at the college is worse than the classes and the tests. And you just have to get through it. If they send you a letter, or these days if they send you an email, you have to deal with it no matter what it is. And that's really harder than just taking your final exams. Okay, so we'll come back and we'll look at these things closer. That's just a quick overview. Okay, so I didn't really plan on covering this topic here. Do I really need to go to college? But I figured I'd go ahead and talk about it a little bit. I kind of have mixed feelings on that. It really depends on what you want to do. If you just want to work on cars, or plumbing or something like that, well, no, you probably don't have to go to college. If you want a career in business, marketing, sales, accounting, being a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, then yeah, you should go to college. If you don't know what you want to do yet, I can't really help you there. That's just something you have to decide what you want to do. Okay. I used to teach music. I had my own music instruction studio where all I did was teach. And I had a young mother say to me once about her 12-year-old son, "I don't care what he does, I just want him to do something." So just pick something and get into it. You know, that's where I get that line from. Just pick something and get into it. Now, of course, you really have to enjoy it if you plan on spending your life with that career. Now, okay, so just to run through this so we don't miss anything, I recommend going to college for most people. Just give it 4 serious years and you're done. Yeah, 4 or 5 years. It pays off in the long run. You have a college degree you could add to your resume, all your job applications. Of course, a college degree is always best. At least take a few college courses so you can add it to your resume. There's always the thing where you're overeducated too if you have a 4-year degree. But in general, you want to go 4 years and get a 4-year degree. But like I said earlier, it really depends on what you want to do, a career versus a job. You know, that's a whole nother video. Plus, we can go 1 long career, 3 mini careers, or several mini careers. So what I'm talking about there is, in the old days, our grandfather would get one job and he'd have that job his whole life, one long career. He'd retire with the company. Back then, companies were loyal. They would stick with you no matter what. Those days are gone. That went out the door back around 1980 or so. It's real common these days to have 3 mini careers, you know, each about 10 years. You know, common thing is you'll hear people say, "I did that in a previous life." You know? And now, I read an article a few years ago, most people are having several mini careers. Now, in general, the mini careers aren't good, you know, because it breaks your stride. You know, you want to spend a long time in the same business, and as you do that, your pay rate keeps going up and up and up. If you change fields totally, you know, then your pay rate goes back down to entry level. So there's nothing wrong with changing jobs, changing companies. That's what the executives do. They hop from one company to another, and there's usually about a $3,000 to $5,000 increase when you change companies. You know, you don't want to change companies and go down. You know, that would be a bad move. You always want to go up. So. Okay, so most of us, we just know what we want to do. You know. So for most people, that's not a problem, but some people just have no idea. So, some colleges, they don't even let you pick a major the first couple years. You know, everyone starts out as general studies. I guess their feeling is you're too young to really know what you want to do, so you don't have to pick a major until your 3rd year. So this, we've talked about that. Just pick something and get into it. There's no magic. Look, you know, there's no magic. There's no spark. So just do something. But try not to change. But there's nothing wrong with changing. If you get into college 2-3 years or so and you decide, hey, this isn't for me, there's nothing wrong with changing. And they say, like, most people don't actually use what their degree is in. If you get some weird degree in some strange area, most people don't actually use it. Of course, a doctor will use his medical degree, a lawyer will use his law degree, and accountant will use his math degree and stuff like that. But in general, the average person, you don't actually use it anyways. College doesn't actually train you for a job. It makes you a better person at your job. That's the standard phrase. So even after 4 years of school, 4 years of college, you come out and you're not trained. You still have to go for more training at the job. Most companies, big companies, once you get hired on, you're actually trained on the job training. There's a 6-month training period or something like that. These days, if you go on the loans, see, like up here, we talked about this stuff here. If you don't get the Pell Grant and you end up getting the loans, it's common to come out of college $100,000 in debt, $200,000 in debt. Try to avoid the loans. Just say no. If you have to, you have to. But rent a cheap apartment. If you can. Don't buy a car. Buy a cheap junk car. Some colleges don't even like you to have a car on campus. They don't have enough parking spots. Your freshman year, you may not even be permitted to have a car there. So, if you go that far in debt, that takes a lifetime to pay off that type of college debt. And if you've watched the news these days, that's actually the big problem. When you come out of college that far in debt, you can't afford to buy a house. If you can't afford to buy a house, that hurts the economy overall. So it's more than just you being $200,000 in debt. It affects the whole country. So, to back up just a little bit here, if you're going to go to college, if you're a high school student, try to get good grades in high school. Try to take the tougher courses, the math courses. I've even had high school students in some of my college courses, the easier ones. But it's not really necessary. Lots of us just don't do nothing in high school, and then you get to college, you have to get serious. You break down and get serious. In general, I've read articles where they say people who got good grades in high school, real easy, they don't know how to study. Not all, but some. Then when they get to college, they usually drop out because in high school they never learned how to study. You got to sit down and read. Sit in a room by yourself and read 50 pages this week. So that's tough. So the whole point of this thing here is, if you didn't do good in high school, it's no big deal. When you get to college, get to work. Get serious, get to work. It's about having a better life, raising a family, things like that. So we can go on and on with that.